Ever find yourself scrolling through an app and you're like, man, this is kind of fun, even if it's just for something like ordering groceries?
It's the apps that just get it right,
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today, how that same feeling, that gotta have it factor, is finding its way into, of all things, financial products.
Yeah, we're talking about injecting a little sex appeal into banking.
I know, right? Not exactly the first thing that pops into your head when you think about interest rates and spreadsheets.
Definitely not.
But we found this article, Sexual Revolution in Banking CX, and they're making the case that it's exactly what's needed to make financial products less intimidating and more engaging.
And they use a pretty interesting example to get their point across: Steve Jobs and the whole Apple revival.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We all know Apple products are sleek and make you want to whip out your credit card, but what does that have to do with, like, managing your money?
Well, think back to the 90s. Apple, they were struggling, right? And Jobs, he realized their products were missing a certain something that made people crave them, not just use them because they had to. He called it sex appeal.
Wait, so he was trying to make computers blush?
Not exactly, more like infusing them with this excitement, a passion even, that created a real connection with the user. He wanted Apple products to be objects of desire.
And, well, mission accomplished, right?
Right. I mean, look at Apple now. So the article is drawing a parallel here.
So they're saying banking apps need to be as sought after as the newest iPhone.
It's not so much about the object itself, but tapping into that emotional response. Think about the apps you keep coming back to. It's because they feel good to use, they click with you on some level, not just because they're functional. That's the sex appeal they're talking about.
Okay, I'm starting to see where they're going with this. But how do you apply that to the world of banking? It's not like managing finances is known for being a thrill ride,
And that's precisely what the article is challenging. They're arguing that both sex and banking have gone through these really similar transformations. They've shifted from being purely functional, transactional, to being more experience-driven.
I'm going to bite. How do you even compare something as personal as, sex to something that most people find as appealing as a trip to the dentist, like banking?
It all boils down to the emotional connection. For a long time, both were seen as purely practical, even taboo to talk about openly.
Yeah, you didn't exactly bring up your bank balance at cocktail parties.
Exactly. But things changed. Societal attitudes shifted, and we saw this move towards focusing on personalization, individual needs, and budget realms.
So are they saying that just like the sexual revolution challenged all these norms and brought about a more open, pleasure-centric view of sexuality, the digital revolution is doing the same for banking?
That's the gist, yeah. It's about moving away from just processing transactions to actually crafting these digital experiences that are, dare I say, enjoyable, even delightful.
Delightful banking, huh? Now I've heard it all.
I know, but think about apps like Revolut, Cash App, Nubank. They've blown up because they get it to win in this digital age. You got to create a positive emotional experience for the user. It's not enough to just be functional anymore.
They're like the Apple products of the financial world.
Yeah.
Sleek, user-friendly, a far cry from those clunky banking apps we used to put up with.
Exactly. And the article argues that's not by accident. These apps are designed to be engaging, maybe even a little addictive. They want you to want to use them.
So it's not just about making banking fun for the heck of it. There's a real strategy behind creating these emotionally engaging products.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into actual benefits for these companies? What's the ROI on sex appeal?
That's where it gets really interesting. And the article dives into the nitty-gritty of why this sex appeal actually matters to the bottom line. They say that by making financial products more engaging, companies can actually increase customer loyalty, build stronger brand perception, and even get new customers in the door.
That makes sense. If you enjoy using an app, you're more likely to stick with it and tell your friends about it. But how do they actually do it? How do you make banking sexy? What's the secret sauce?
Well, the article lays out 10 specific design principles that can help inject this sex appeal into any financial product.
10 principles for financial product seduction. Lay it on me.
Well, maybe not seduction in the literal sense.
Right, of course.
But we'll definitely break down how these principles use psychology and design to make financial products less intimidating and more, shall we say, appealing. And the first one they highlight is all about humanizing the experience.
Which makes sense when you think about it. Money is such a personal thing. It's tied to our hopes, our dreams, sometimes our fears.
Exactly. But so often, financial products feel cold, impersonal, like you're just dealing with this faceless institution.
It's like they're speaking a different language, only with more numbers.
Exactly. So, one of the key principles here is to make these products feel less like interacting with a robot and more like you have a helpful partner who actually gets you and wants to help you reach your goals.
So they suggest using language that resonates with the user's emotional state, incorporating visuals that create a sense of connection, and personalizing every interaction as much as possible.
It's about making the user feel like they're interacting with something that understands them, not just a faceless financial machine.
They give a great example about low balance notifications. Instead of a generic alert, imagine getting a message that says something like, "Hey, just a heads up, your balance is getting a little low, want to move some money around, or set up a reminder."
It's a subtle difference, but it completely changes the tone. Suddenly, it feels like you have a helpful friend looking out for you, not just a bank nagging you about numbers.
It's amazing how much language can impact our perception, right?
Absolutely. And this ties into their next principle, designing for delight. This is about building in those little moments of joy that make the experience memorable, even fun.
Think about those playful animations you see in fitness apps when you hit a goal, like a burst of confetti. The article suggests incorporating similar elements into financial products.
For example, imagine a little animation celebrating a successful transfer or hitting a savings milestone.
It's like giving yourself a mini high five every time you make a smart financial move.
Exactly. It gamifies the experience in a way, making it feel less like a chore and more like something rewarding.
Speaking of making things feel less like a chore, the article's next point is to simplify complexity.
Which feels especially relevant in the financial world.
Right. They argue that one of the biggest turnoffs for users is when financial products are overly complicated, bogged down in jargon and confusing processes. It's like they're trying to speak a different language.
So their solution is to essentially become fluent in the language of the user.
Precisely. It's about breaking down complex concepts into simple, understandable language, streamlining processes, and making everything as intuitive as possible.
Think about how Apple products are known for their user-friendly design. They've managed to make even complex technology feel accessible to everyone. That's the kind of thinking the article is advocating for in financial products.
It makes me wonder if part of the reason people find finances intimidating is that the industry has made it unnecessarily complex.
That's a really interesting point and something the article touches on. By making their products more approachable and user-friendly, financial institutions might find that people are more willing to engage with their finances in a positive way.
Okay, so we've talked about humanizing the experience, designing for delight, and simplifying complexity. What's next on the list of design principles for sexy financial products?
Well, it wouldn't be a true makeover without addressing the visuals. The article emphasizes the importance of creating a strong visual identity for your product.
Right, because first impressions matter, even in the digital world.
Exactly. It's about crafting a visual language that's not only aesthetically pleasing, but also aligns with your brand's values and resonates with your target audience.
Think about the sleek minimalism of Apple's design. It instantly conveys a sense of sophistication and modernity.
Financial products can benefit from a similar approach, using color, typography, and imagery to create a distinct and appealing visual identity.
It's funny, we often think of finances as being all about numbers and data, but the article argues that tapping into emotions is crucial for creating engaging products.
Absolutely. Their next point is all about building emotional connections. They remind us that money is inherently emotional. It's tied to our aspirations, our worries, our sense of security. Sexy financial products, according to the article, should acknowledge and validate these emotions.
So it's not just about making a transaction, but understanding the emotions behind it.
Exactly. For example, a savings app shouldn't just track your progress. It should celebrate your achievements and offer encouragement along the way. They even suggest incorporating elements of storytelling to create a more relatable and engaging experience.
Storytelling in a financial product. How does that work?
Well, instead of just listing features, imagine using real-life scenarios or customer success stories to illustrate how the product can help users achieve their goals. It makes it more relatable and inspiring, showing users how they can fit into the narrative of financial success.
It's like, this isn't just a budgeting app, it's your roadmap to financial freedom.
You've got it. They also suggest incorporating elements of play, which, let's be honest, isn't something we usually associate with banking.
Unless you count desperately trying to balance your checkbook as a game of chance.
I think they mean something a little more intentional. They give examples like implementing reward systems for completing financial tasks or using gamification to make saving or investing more engaging. It's about tapping into our natural desire for competition and achievement, even when it comes to our finances.
So instead of dreading my monthly budget review, I could be racking up points and unlocking achievements. Now, that's an app I could get behind.
Exactly. It's about reframing our relationship with finance, making it feel less like a chore and more like a journey toward our goals.
Okay, so we're on a roll here. What are their final pearls of wisdom for creating these sexy financial products?
Well, in today's multi-device world, they stress the importance of seamless integration. A sexy financial product shouldn't just work well on one device. It should provide a consistent and enjoyable experience across all platforms.
No one wants to wrestle with an app that looks great on their laptop but falls apart on their phone.
Exactly. They also emphasize the need for speed and efficiency. No one wants to wait around for transactions to process or navigate clunky interfaces.
Time is money, as they say.
Precisely. And finally, they highlight the importance of continuously gathering and acting on user feedback.
Because even the sexiest financial product can benefit from a little fine-tuning, right?
Exactly. They suggest using surveys, A/B testing, and other methods to stay in tune with users' evolving needs and ensure the product remains relevant and engaging.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about humanizing the experience, designing for delight, the power of storytelling, even bringing a little gamification into the mix. Who knew there were so many layers to making banking sexy?
And let's not forget those last few points, making sure the experience is seamless across all your devices, keeping things fast and efficient because nobody's got time for lag, right? And constantly getting that user feedback to keep things fresh.
It's like they're giving financial products a total personality makeover. But it's not just about aesthetics, is it? This article ended on a thought that really got me thinking. What if this whole approach to designing financial products doesn't just change how we interact with banks? What if it actually changes our relationship with money itself?
That's what's so fascinating, right? What happens when managing your finances becomes something you actually look forward to instead of dread? Could we see a future where people are more financially savvy, more engaged with their money, because it's actually, dare I say, fun?
It's a pretty wild thought, right?
Yeah.
Instead of dreading those monthly budget meetings, we're actually excited for them.
Exactly. Imagine a world where people are fired up to explore investment options, where saving for retirement feels empowering instead of this daunting thing looming in the future. If financial products can tap into those positive emotions, it could completely change how we view and manage our money.
And that could lead to some really positive outcomes for people. I mean, imagine if managing your money wasn't a constant source of stress. On a larger scale, who knows, maybe it could even lead to a healthier economy overall.
It's definitely a possibility worth exploring. At the end of the day, this article makes us rethink everything we thought we knew about finance. What if, by using these design principles, we could create financial products that are not only effective, but enjoyable to use?
Right. It's like that old saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Maybe that can apply to managing our finances too.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this sexual revolution in banking is exactly what we need to transform our relationship with money from one of stress and anxiety to one of excitement and empowerment.
It's a bold vision, no doubt. But after diving into all these design principles, it's making me rethink what's possible. So listeners, we want to hear from you. Do you think there's a place for sex appeal in the world of financial products? Does the idea of making managing money genuinely enjoyable sound appealing or totally out there? Let us know what you think on social media, and until next time, stay curious.